What if the ocean could read your fears and wash them away? This is the story of a girl who carried many quiet fears inside her, like little stones weighing down her pockets. She was afraid of failing, of being laughed at by others, of never quite being good enough for the people she cared about. These fears didn't shout, they whispered. They made her chest feel heavy and tight, especially on days when the world felt too big and she felt too small. School felt like a stage where she might forget her lines. Friendships felt fragile, like thin glass she was scared to break. The future seemed like a fog she couldn't see through. Her heart was a library of anxieties, each one a book she was afraid to open. Hoping no one would ever see how scared she was. Whenever her chest felt too heavy to breathe, she would go to the beach. The endless horizon and the rhythmic sound of the waves were a comfort. It was a place big enough to hold all the feelings she couldn't. One early morning, as the sun painted the sky in soft shades of orange and pink, she found a long, smooth piece of driftwood. It felt sturdy in her hand. Without really thinking, she walked to the edge of the water where the sand was dark and damp. She knelt down, the cool sand seeping through her clothes, and with the stick, she began to write. It wasn't a poem or a letter. It was a confession to the sand, a secret shared with the sea. Her first words were shaky. "I'm scared to speak up in class," she wrote. The letters looked big and dark against the pale shore. She paused, then wrote again. "I'm scared to try new things because I might fail." The stick dug deeper this time. "I'm scared they will all leave me if I'm not perfect." Each sentence was a weight she was pulling out from her heart and placing onto the sand. She wrote about the test she was worried about, the presentation that made her stomach turn, the conversation she was too afraid to start. The beach became a page in her diary, and for the first time, her fears weren't just invisible ghosts in her mind. They were real, tangible words that she could see. Then, a gentle wave came rolling in. It crept up the shore, its white foam bubbling around the words she had just written. Slowly, it began to erase them. The sharp edges of the letters softened, blurring into the sand. The wave pulled back, and the words were gone, dragged into the vastness of the ocean. "I'm scared to speak," dissolved into the water. She watched, mesmerized, as the sea took her secrets without judgment. It didn't offer advice or tell her not to be afraid. It simply accepted them and carried them away, leaving the sand smooth and clean again, as if waiting for the next secret. A small smile touched her lips. She wrote more. She wrote about her anxieties at school, the pressures she felt from her family, and the overwhelming uncertainty of her future. "What if I choose the wrong path?" she scribbled. "What if I disappoint everyone?" With each fear she etched into the wet sand, she felt a little lighter. And with each wave that came to claim the words, she watched the ocean quietly take her fear away. It became a ritual. Write, watch, release. The shoreline became her sanctuary, a place where she could pour out everything that troubled her, knowing the tide would come and cleanse it all. The ocean became her silent confidant, its waves a steady, reassuring presence. Of course, the fears did not disappear from her life in one day. The next morning, some of the old anxieties were still there, whispering their familiar doubts. But something inside her had changed. When a fear surfaced, it felt different. It felt less permanent, less powerful. It no longer felt like a heavy stone she was forced to carry forever. Instead, it felt more like a line drawn in the sand, something that was real for a moment, but something that could also be washed away. The act of writing them down gave them a form, and watching them vanish showed her a T. They didn't have to control her. She learned that acknowledging a fear was the first step to letting it go. You are allowed to feel afraid. Your feelings are valid. And it's okay to have moments of doubt and uncertainty. But you are also allowed to let go. You are allowed to decide that your fears don't get to build a permanent home in your heart. Like the girl on the beach, you can find your own way to release them. The girl kept visiting the shore, and as she walked along the water's edge, her footprints were clear next to the smooth, clean sand. The stick in her hand felt lighter with each visit. She was learning that she was stronger than her fears, and that, just like the ocean, she had the power to make things new again. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe for more stories to help you learn and grow.